Good evening, Arbitriers. Welcome to another episode of Arbitrarium a la carte. Now, the subject I wish to discuss in this fine little morsel is the appeal of apocalypse and post-apocalyptic fiction. Why are we so interested in seeing how shitty things can get in movies and TV and comic books?
And video games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any
yeah.
any storytelling medium, we seem to really latch on to. I mean, it's a common genre, especially and has been really. I think from the '90s on, the idea of the apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic story has kind of blown up.
I mean,
Then again,
there were examples.
'50s.
There were examples prior to it. The '50s dealt with it in their own '50s-like way. People tend to forget that, like, Star Wars was a sleeper hit, and I know that sounds like it's coming out of left field, but hear me out. What was expected to be the top-grossing movie the year Star Wars came out, 1977, was a movie called Damnation Alley, which the poster was just Damnation Alley in the big Planet of the Apes style font and a vividly rendered mushroom cloud. So that's what was expected to win that year.
Well, to me that sounds... The title Damnation Alley sounds more like either that or really interesting take at bowling.
Pop punk band.
Damnation Alley?
Yeah, it sounds like a punk band.
I think I'll go with corn dogs and canned wine.
Panic at the Deli.
Well,
In my head, it has to be a Jewish deli.
Yeah,
Schmishnugana.
like a vault. Well, anyway,
Everyone's losing their damn minds around you.
so, let's start with some good examples of apocalyptic fiction. I mean, during a little smoke break, we had to figure things out. My brother had an excellent example of, what was it?
The Day After.
The Day After.
That'd be apocalypse fiction. So what I'm going to say separates apocalypse versus post-apocalypse is it's right in the title, but I think it deserves clarification. So an apocalypse movie or work is it's happening in the thing. It is being shown.
yeah.
So you've got things like The Day After, which is the lead up, during, and immediately following
The aftermath of
a
media.
massive nuclear exchange between the Soviet Union and the United States. You've also got The Day After Tomorrow.
Which was what was it? The magnetic pole switching causing a whole bunch of
It was some stupid
shenanigans.
bullshit. Yeah,
It was a bunch. There was some climate change stuff going
all
on.
the climate change.
Yes, a hyperstorm
all the bad things.
that sucked cold air from the stratosphere down,
Something.
that froze all of the northern hemisphere, basically.
It was like 1950s, disaster movie logic.
Well, the thing about 1950s, they usually find a way to fix it. That's something that I've noticed. The reason it's apocalypse and post-apocalyptic fiction really, really took off post-70s and during the 80s.
As far as like it's not going to work, apocalypse is actually going to happen type of movies where we don't fix it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sort of thing. Because there is a bit more of a, less optimistic, more bleak worldview.
Oh, yeah.
After that period.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that one of my favorite films is very close to being an apocalypse film, and considering I don't consider the rest of the series to be canon in my own head, Return of the Living Dead. Simply because you have a chemical that can be, you can incinerate the body, but it will instead just go up into the rain clouds, come back down, and guess what's reanimating? More things.
Zombie rain.
Yeah, pretty much. And what's worse about them is the usual rules don't work. You have to completely destroy the body, and if you're not going to use like a trench full of lye or high-powered acid, you're just creating more smoke clouds and more zombies.
Which that doesn't quite make sense considering most chemicals are broken down by
Yeah,
high heat anyway.
yeah.
I mean, it was the body was thrown into an incinerator. If it burns bone, it'll probably break down chemicals.
So basically, what you're saying is we need like a Frodo to physically carry every single zombie all the way up and toss them into Mount Doom.
Pretty much.
Okay, I think that's doable. We could do that.
And also,
Maybe it would be better if we had many Frodos instead of just the one.
So as far as appeal of, it depends on the theme of what the individual story is, I guess. Why it appeals to people. Why watch it?
Well, there's definitely the horror element. Because people can kind of get a jolly out of being terrified by something. I mean, it's a very subjective art form, and lately horror these days is just, ooh, someone jumping out at you, or gross out horror.
I think there's a catharsis to it.
Catharsis?
Yeah, I do. I think that one of the reasons people like to watch post-apocalyptic films or read post-apocalyptic fiction, so on and so forth, is because there's a fantasy element to it. This idea that, all the like quote-unquote progress we've made over the years and our lives are just so unbelievably busy that we can't do anything anymore. We're so focused on jobs and all these little tedious things. Well, all that goes away, and we are actually forced to like contend with life at its most basic level. And I think there's something that's appealing about that to people.
The post-apocalypse, yes.
Yeah.
I can definitely get that. I think there's it is a removal of all superficial rules of society.
Yeah, yeah.
In the back of everyone's head, I think most people, the apocalypse happened and I've made it through. Well, I'm going to do just fine because I'm not restricted by any rules now.
Yeah, no, man, that's not how that works.
I mean, you very well may be one of those people who, founds. I mean, in my case, I hope I get to found the Rogue Republic of New Indiana. The Newsers shall rise from the ashes of the old.
The Newsers?
The Newsers.
Yes.
I haven't heard that one yet. Okay.
You haven't heard the Newsers?
No, you've never mentioned the Newsers.
Bullshit. So, shortly after I came up with the concept of the Rogue Republic of New Indiana.
I don't remember that one. But when I hear that word, I
the
think,
inhabitants there are Newsers.
oh well, there's going to be a battle between the Newsers and the Newgers because that just sounds like a cult surrounding Ted Nugent. He might like the Rogue Republic of Indiana, though. I think that's kind of his thing.
Well, I mean, when it comes to Ted Nugent and the Rogue Republic of New Indiana, I mean, he's our spiritual president for life.
Oh, okay, well.
Assuming he survives the apocalypse that gives rise to the Rogue Republic of New Indiana.
Though,
Assuming.
Well, let's be fair. If anyone's going to do it who's a celebrity, it's probably going to be him.
I can see it. I can see it.
Like even Keanu, with all his, with how terrifying he is on the shooting range, not sure he could actually hack the survival aspect.
No, he'd get crucified. Probably literally.
Oh.
And eaten.
Possibly eaten, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other side of that is, people. It's not just that they're gonna be just fine and survive, but they're not gonna fall to the depths of some people. Like think of what's the name of that Book of Eli?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
the lowest of the low in that that world were the cannibals.
Yeah.
Everyone hated the cannibals. No one expects to end up being the cannibals. Someone's going to be the cannibals.
Oh, yeah. If for no other reason than initially curiosity. It's like, well, all those superficial rules are gone now, so I could conceivably eat long pig and maybe not get in trouble for it. I wonder what people taste like.
And that's how it starts.
Soylent Green is secret.
So I think that's the appeal of a post-apocalypse fiction.
I think with, regular apocalypse fiction, it is far more into the horror element. It's being utterly helpless against something that's usually a force of nature that can't be stopped.
Why do people like that? That's the question.
People like to be scared.
I mean, when it comes to like a zombie movie, yeah, but I'm talking the more it's like that is such a niche. Because like Return of the Living Dead, yes, there's apocalyptic elements to it, but that is primarily a zombie movie, not an apocalypse movie.
It still technically falls into the category of apocalypse
Technically
movie, though.
falls in there, but
Yeah,
it's
we
like
have all the same trappings.
it's no, there's different stuff. I different themes, different.
Ultimately, you can stop the zombies.
As a man of technicality, I would say it is certainly a sub-genre of apocalypse movie.
Yeah, but pretty much every zombie movie, the moral of the story is man is the real monster.
I mean, that's the Frankenstein that's the whole Frankenstein thing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
In the Mouth of Madness takes a very interesting look at an apocalypse.
Yeah.
Essentially, someone becomes a sort of Lovecraftian deity by by destroying the barriers between fiction and reality. And he's basically H.P. Lovecraft. So his stories are all pretty fucking nightmarish.
Yeah.
And in short order, well, the only survivor is a fictional person who crossed the barrier, and the final scene of the film is him sitting in a theater watching the movie he was the character in, losing his shit because, well, reality has fallen apart completely. Mm-hmm. And it's in the hands of a hack horror writer.
It's kind of like Stranger Than Fiction, but Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I think a good apocalypse movie. It's in the movie, shit's going south real quick. There's no avoiding it. But at some point, someone will have mentioned in the movie, if only we'd have insert action here, this wouldn't have happened. The day after tomorrow. If only we'd have paid more attention to Al Gore, this wouldn't have happened. The day after, if only we'd have not had such animosity towards those who have a different ideological bent to us, this wouldn't have happened.
Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
No, that one's averted.
Oh yeah, that's right. Technically, it is averted. It's the music that kills the aliens, the Martians.
Well,
right?
it's averted, but there's enough damage done that
There's still an apocalyptic event.
Yeah.
They keep it from completely actualizing.
yeah.
I mean, by that same logic, you have to throw Independence Day on there.
True.
I'd consider that one simply because of how many places were utterly destroyed.
I mean, they reckon the body count. They reckon the death toll from Independence Day, the second one.
2. There's
Yeah.
only 2.
Yeah, I would try to remember the actual name of the second one. It's like Requiem or...
Yeah, I don't remember. It was something like that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they said that the War of 96 had like 3 billion dead.
Well, see, by that token, you can
Whoa.
still consider it an apocalyptic movie because even if we defeat the aliens, by the sheer amount of destruction and death, the apocalypse isn't over.
Yeah.
Well,
Like the recovery from that is going to be apocalyptic recovery.
3 billion dead in the 1950s is a lot different than 3 billion dead in
True.
the 1990s.
Yeah.
Because that's half the population versus 95% of the population. That's not as bad of a bottleneck.
No, but it's still
it's
enough.
still pretty fucking horrifying.
It's still enough to completely ravage the planet.
Yeah, the bounce back as portrayed in Independence Day 2, that wouldn't have happened that fast.
Yeah, we've had that conversation about other things too, like the weird bounce back. We were talking. What was that? We were talking about where there was like this really weird, like unusually fast recovery. It was during one of our other podcasts, in fact. I know you and I were talking about it, and it was like that would not have happened. Like that is not how that would have happened. Like that was way too quick.
Was it the one that we lost?
No. It was like something. Oh, we were talking about Avengers. It was the Thanos episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because like the snap happened, and then it was like 5 years later, and somehow things seem to be reasonably okay.
Yeah.
No.
That would have taken a few generations.
Yeah, and keep in mind, he said half of all life in the universe. That includes, the things we eat.
Yeah, the bacteria. I mean,
And
like all
we
of
got
it.
onto like gut fauna.
Yeah,
It's like
we-
if you lose half your gut fauna, you're not having a good time.
Yeah, it's like, well, was half the gut fauna from the people who like the same half that died, or was it like half people died, but then the gut fauna of those people, like some of the half of those people got the gut fauna that died, but then some of the living people got the gut fauna that died, and so a lot more people actually died.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like there's a lot.
This is why omnipotence does require a degree of omniscience, because you could just throw something into motion that just utterly fucks things up beyond anything you could imagine.
Can I ask a question there? What are the degrees of omniscience?
That's a topic for a completely different podcast.
But
That's
it's like, are there? You either know everything or you don't.
well, true.
So-
Semantically, that's true. There are no
no
degrees.
degrees of omniscience.
That's the omni part.
Selective omniscience. You only know everything about a single subject.
What would you call that?
I
Monosians?
I don't
It would be Monosians.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's possible.
One person becomes the
I don't
absolute.
think you could survive.
Considering how intertwined everything is.
Yeah.
You can't. There's nothing that has no relation to anything else.
Right. At best, you're just an expert.
Yeah, total knowledge of peanut farming.
Then you're just an expert. Maybe a connoisseur.
Possibly a real bore in a conversation.
Possibly.
I don't know. Peanuts can be interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
for Carter.
That's the only thing anyone remembers about
He
Carte.
was a peanut
Carter.
farmer.
You know, he also captained a nuclear submarine.
That's cooler.
Yeah, no one remembers that. Everyone remembers the fucking peanut farm.
Roseanne Barr also had a peanut farm. She had that reality show for a real short time called Roseanne Has Gone Nuts or something like that.
Roseanne's nuts.
Roseanne's Nuts, yeah.
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 I thought it was it a peanut farm?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a peanut farm.
Oh, I thought it was some different nuts.
And then she tried to redo Roseanne and then got booted. Like the show got canceled. Then they redid it. Now it's the Connors, and it's actually succeeding. Like they've had several seasons now, and people are
Wow,
watching it.
I had no idea that even
and
existed.
like all the original cast except for Roseanne Barr, isn't it?
Well,
Like, how do you have Roseanne without Roseanne?
They're making it work. I mean, I think they did the one thing that they needed to do in order to make that show work. Now this is off
They turned it
topic.
into a post-apocalypse?
No, they focused on Darlene. Darlene is the main character in the Connors,
Oh, okay.
and it actually seems to work pretty well.
Well, I honestly would think that most sitcoms would take a very... I'd watch a spin-off where it is in a post-apocalypse. Seinfeld would be very interesting.
What's the deal with Soylent Green?
That's more dystopia than apocalypse.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it is post-apocalypse. I'm pretty sure that would be considered post-apocalypse.
And Frasier runs Bartertown.
me, Frasier, me run Bartertown.
Oh God, post-apocalypse Frasier. He would have a lot of business if he was still a radio psychiatrist.
I mean,
Yeah.
he'd have a lot of business just for having a radio.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe not.
I'm
Maybe
just
not
imagining
everyone has a radio.
Just imagining Seattle in total post-apocalypse mode, and you just see a broken down bus that still has the lit up advertisement on the side for the Dr. Fraser Crane show.
There was
He still lives in the Elliott Bay Towers, but only his floor still has functioning electricity.
you ever watch BoJack Horseman?
I've seen 2 or 3 episodes. I'd like it. I just haven't had a chance to.
There's a TV show in there that BoJack's acting in, and
Oh, is this the sitcom or a different one?
it's a different one.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to give details,
Right.
but in the show that's in the show that BoJack is acting in,
Yeah.
season 2 or season 1 ends with a nuclear bomb going off over LA. Season 2, they're still just being cops
It's just a
in a post-nuclear LA. So I'd love to see a show that does that actually.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, it's not exactly, but that's kind of what Apocalypse was roughly about. I mean, now this audience has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about now.
Right.
But yeah, that was kind of an idea, except it was Cincinnati.
Anyway, we're coming up on that time.
Where it starts before the apocalypse, and then the apocalypse happens.
Oh, no,
and
no,
then-
no.
Yeah.
In Apocalypse, the apocalypse has already happened, and never at any point do we explain what happened. Not once. All you know is that you're in Cincinnati. It's basically Escape from New York, and everybody's mutants except for like a Frocklips and a handful of people that you see. Other than that, everybody's mutants.
Oops, all mutants.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on that time, so I hope you enjoyed our little discussion, and we'll be very happy for you to tune in again. Bye-bye.
But